Hey, Thurman, I got an email from the security company, and they asked me to review some footage of the back door at HQ, and I think you might be involved. You were here over the weekend, right?
Maybe, but I mean, it's just off the top of my head, just hearing this, I don't think it's something we need to look into. We can probably just brush it under the rug and not look at that tape ever.
They said something, though, about a guy running around in a man thong.
You know,
And it wasn't me, so...
There's no telling if that's true or real.
Nathan, did you put on a man thong and run around HQ?
I mean, I would call it a G-string, but yeah.
Welcome into the Bro 4 Squad podcast. We're here, as is tradition, to give you guys a review on Moon Knight, Season 1, Episode 2, titled Summon the Suit. I'm Brian Banner here with Nate Thurman, and let's just get right into it. Nate, acting and cast, what you got?
Yeah, I thought the intro of Layla, which was kind of the big focal point in this one, was good in general. May Calamay, the actress's name. I'm not too familiar with her, but I thought she did great. I was going to touch on that real quick. I mean, nothing really outstanding, but Ethan Hawke came back into this episode. Really liked his performance. It was kind of cool seeing him get in there and try and play buddy with Steven for a minute. I thought he did that really well, and he kind of moved in and out of the antagonist role pretty seamlessly through their conversation in the neighborhood that he takes him to. So that was kind of the real standout performance for me from this one was Ethan Hawke's. I know some other people may disagree, but it was short-lived. He wasn't in it much, but I really liked his performance on this one.
I echo everything you just said. I think that May Calamawe, is that right? Calamawe?
Calama or Calamay, I'm guessing.
Okay. Anyway, I thought she was good enough. She did her job. She didn't try and outshine. She didn't overact. She didn't underact. She did her job. She stayed in her lane. And we're going to sound like we're beating a dead horse here or a broken record, but Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac, they just absolutely destroyed this episode again. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. And I really was trying to talk about other people and wanted to talk about other people. Fortunately, there isn't a whole lot of other people in this episode.
No, I mean, we got a lot of dialogue, or a lot more dialogue from Honshu. And off the top of my head, I'm not sure who voices him, but I can probably pull it up real quick. F. Murray Abram. Not entirely sure what to feel about this character at this point, or this being, this god. But back to your point, yeah, there's not too much going on. It's a lot of them. It's a lot of them. Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac bringing a lot to the table, and it may just be because a lot of the meaty dialogue, a lot of the most important dialogue is coming from them, but getting some Mobius and Loki vibes. They're playing really well off each other. You've kind of got Ethan Hawke, a new introduction, just like Owen Wilson was to the Marvel Universe. So getting a lot of parallels there, and I'm liking their dynamic.
Yeah, they've got some good chemistry. They kind of know when they feed off of each other really well. I felt like, and I'm excited to see where we end up at the end of the season, because obviously they're gonna be foes the entire season, but I'm looking forward to that cat and mouse game between them.
Yeah, that's pretty much cemented in now. Halfway through the episode, I was like, hold on, what is he doing here? What is he trying to do? Is he trying to buddy with him? But then, yeah, it quickly switched back and said, no, fuck you. I want the scarab.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the scarab, let's move into the story and plot. And again, this is episode 2, titled Summon the Suit, and the IMDb description, as Mr. Horns always reads, says, with little time to react, Steven is thrust into a war of the gods as a mysterious partner arrives. Spooky. I'll kick us off here.
Let's do it.
This episode was good. I liked it. They did a lot of telling us here. They threw a lot at me really fast. I feel like we're really thick in the weeds, and I wasn't ready to be this thick in the weeds yet.
Yeah, I echo that. And we talked a little bit off pod, but I didn't want to get too deep into it to leave some for this. But man, yeah, after the first episode, I was confused. I was intrigued. Now I'm confused and less intrigued. Yeah, and you put it a good way. Like, they threw a lot at you. You had to process a lot. I'm still liking the show overall. I'm especially like the visual effects and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, with the introduction of Layla and trying to figure out their dynamic now, what does she know? How much does she know about his backstory? I understand, like, her trying to break through and like figure out his new persona. That kind of got frustrating, just them going back and forth a little bit, and not being on the same page, which I understand where it's coming from. But
yeah, but to that point too, like, if you see this guy but it's not the same guy that you knew before, wouldn't you be raising some more questions? Wouldn't that be, like, I don't know, she was just way too cool with this guy coming and basically and having a split personality, so she's got to know, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the side of, I don't understand why she wasn't kind of prodding why he was like this or what was going on. She was just like, this isn't you, stop it, stop the charade. Like, yeah. There's no empathy, which I get is kind of hard from on her side because she is his wife,
right? But there's obviously something. Yeah, I was going to say there's something there. Their wife, they've been partners in this archaeology stuff or mercenary stuff. I don't know which it is. Maybe it's both. Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then she comes in and saves him in the little community. So, like, there's obviously I don't understand. I don't understand that relationship. I am intrigued by it. I think you put it really good. This is a very confusing story, but there's enough other things that are good around it for me to still enjoy it. The acting is great. Even though I don't know what's going on, I know it's good acting.
Yeah.
The score, really, I know we don't talk about this much on TV shows, but the score is really fucking good here.
I don't pay attention.
And if you sit there and think about it, and we'll get into a little bit more in best scene, but there are some specific scenes that, because the acting is so good and you're locked in of what they're saying, all of a sudden you're like, hey, this music is really driving the emotion that I'm supposed to be feeling here. Yeah. And I thought that was a real positive of this. But yeah, there's just they threw a lot at us with meeting new characters. We met really Mark. We met what's his name? The Egyptian god, Hokshu, yeah, whatever his name is. We met his wife. And so out of 5 main characters in this episode, we met 3 of them today.
Yeah, for the most part. Mm-hmm.
That's a lot thrown at me. I'm not that sophisticated.
No. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot thrown out. There was a lot uncovered. Haro, Ethan Hawke's character, reveals he was the avatar for Hongshu at one point. I don't know what happened. He cheated. Relationship broke apart. Not sure.
Happens.
Might get some backstory on that later. Obviously, get into Stephen Grant's actual persona. I don't know. I think Mark Spector.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mark Spector, mercenary, did maybe some shady shit in the past. May have been close to death at some point, and Honshu saved him.
What sounds like.
Not sure if that plays into why only certain people, him at this point, can see the jackals and can see Honshu. Maybe it's kind of like a Harry Potter thing with the Thestrals. You have to like die or get close to death.
Ooh.
Or just be, I know I'm kind of already getting into theories. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, let's hold that thought because that just gave me a theory that I probably won't remember when we get there, but
yeah.
we'll get back to it.
I think this is cool. Kind of jumping ahead of the end of the plot story section of the pod. Mark is in control now, so it's going to be. I'm excited going forward. So this is where my intrigue comes back. Mark is in control, where we will potentially get some background on him, different interactions with him and Layla. So that'll probably provide some more clarity there. But yeah, just overall, there's still a lot of mystery out there and a lot I don't know about. I know Moon Knight is pretty well established in the comic books, and there's a lot of shit there that I don't know. So kind of coming in this one a little blind, but I still have faith that I'll grab some traction here shortly. But I would rank episode 1 ahead of 2 at this point.
I think I would agree with that. I'm with you. I'm not super familiar with Moon Knight and the comics. But regardless of what the story is, and even to this point being as confused as I am, there are all, like you said, there are all those other things that are so good. I still think I'm going to enjoy the series moving forward and have an overall positive experience.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's move on to best scene. We'll switch it up again. You go first.
So my best scene is the very end scene when I get to see Oscar Isaac with his shirt off.
Wow.
That's not true.
Don't lie to the people.
That was honorable mention. Okay.
All right, fine.
That one will be honorable mention. Best scene. I mean, this one's kind of elongated, maybe taken from you, but I mean the whole scene really it starts whenever Steven does start to summon the suit, which is kind of a funny gag when he finally is falling to his potential death and finally calls out for the suit. Steven's never seen the suit before. He doesn't know what it looks like. So whenever he says suit, this is what suit pops into his head.
Yeah, that scene was my honorable mention.
Oh, good.
That scene was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so he pops into just a regular white kind of blazer 3-piece.
Yeah, it's a nice little 3-piece.
Three-piece suit. And then it's funny because you get a little light interaction between Steven and Mark at that point. And then seeing Steven come into his own and try and break out of his comfort zone and actually start fighting the jackal that's after him at this point, that Haro has unleashed on him. So it's kind of a cool part because he's realizing that, oh shit, I have this suit on. I'm feeling a little powerful. Yeah. I think I can take this thing on. And he does realize, like, I may not have the full skills of Mark, but there's something in there. And if I can unleash it, I think I can take care of this myself and not let Mark in. Ultimately, he figures out, okay, I need to let Mark take care of business.
Yeah, I'm in a little over my head here.
But yeah, that whole scene, you got a little levity in it. You got some character building with his confidence. But then you get that multi-dimensional interaction with Mark and Steven again. And
that leads right into really our first action set piece of Moon Knight, which was pretty cool too.
Yes.
Of the actual Moon Knight, not him in a 3-piece, him in the actual Egyptian armor or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was your best scene?
So my best scene was actually right before that when Haro is basically interrogating Stephen Grant and saying, hey, this is what we're here. He, Honshu is saying this, right? Yeah, he's probably saying that. And he's getting it all right. And, I used to be the Avatar. The back and forth, and
trying
again,
to play
like
the
I
good
said
guy.
earlier, the cat and mouse game that both Oscar Isaac and Ethan Hawke are playing in that scene, I think Jeff said it last episode. This might be some of the best acting we have ever seen in the MCU.
Potentially.
I mean, there are some good moments, but so far, top to bottom, at least those two actors are just killing the game.
I would rival, like I mentioned earlier, Loki and Mobius. Most of their interactions throughout were a little more lighthearted. They even had some sentimental moments.
That's what I was going to say, is they were more buddy friends, where these guys are more, or I guess Loki and Mobius are more like frenemies, I would say. And these guys are definitely, different sides of the street.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, they're putting on some good acting. Yeah, it was a good zoomed in dialogue moment where you got to actually focus on them talking to each other, bouncing off each other. And you didn't have too many external factors playing in that you were distracted by. And I mean, they did that for a reason, so you would focus on what was being said.
Right. And that's my point exactly, or you just took the words out of my mouth. That's
my bad.
I don't even know what I'm fucking saying right now. Now, meow. That scene also beat out of the dialogue. The dialogue was interesting and intriguing, and that's where I felt like they gave us so much of the story, and I think I got consumed in it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's good of how they kind of slowed everything down. They just said, hey, you guys do you, and make sure the audience understands this, this, and this. And I think they did a pretty good job with that.
Yeah, we definitely learned a lot from that scene alone that added to the story in the background.
Yep. And then obviously it leads into the big action scene and your best scene. So.
Yep, so it was a nice sequence there.
All right. You got anything else?
No, I don't. All right.
This is Horns' favorite part of the show. Theories and questions moving forward.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. What you got? You go first.
So rounding back on one of our theories from the first episode about who Oscar Isaac is calling, leaving voicemails for, now I can't remember. In the first episode, do we know it's his mom?
I think so.
I think he says mom at some point.
Late as gators. I believe we know it's his mom.
Yeah, I thought so too. Okay. Anyways, we thought she was dead. Lila had an interesting comment in this one. She said, "Oh, you're talking to her now, or talking to her again." I'm not gonna throw out the possibility that she's not dead yet. This could just be like a coping mechanism, and she knows what it is. And him just talking to her in quotations is just him leaving voicemails. He's done this for a long time. And this is supported on some of the comic book things because apparently Mark Spector's mom died whenever he was young. Now they obviously can take some liberties and change this up just for the series. I don't have to stay 100% close to the comic books. But long story short, I'm sticking with that theory still, that she's dead. Even with Layla's comment, I think she's still not with us anymore.
I'm going to throw some crazy shit on the wall here.
Let's do it.
So we know Hashu is a Egyptian god. And we know that is it Amit?
Amit, yeah.
That is another Egyptian god.
Yep.
Is Amit Hanshu's mom? And somehow, because Hanshu is, we'll say possessing. I know that's a really, really loose term for what's actually happening here. Mm-hmm. But he's possessing Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, whatever. So they are calling mom, in quotations here, when Hanshu is really trying to call out to Amit. I said with some crazy shit on the wall. And I literally just came up with it as we were talking. So if you couldn't figure out that it's only like a 3/4 of a thought.
Yeah. It's like a soft boiled egg.
Yeah.
It's not all the way there yet.
Yeah.
Man, if they pull that, that's some deep, thoughtful
If they
shit
pull
there.
that, I'm gonna look like a fucking genius.
Yeah. So it's like
I don't think they
subconsciously
will.
reaching out, like the phone
Yeah,
number.
yeah. Subconsciously. There we go. That's the word I was looking for.
Okay. So he's actually calling like a real number that's not Amit, but you're
Right.
saying just that's the one vehicle that they're trying to use to get out there. But
Yeah. Like that's the Easter egg telling us that Amit is Hanshu's mother in Egyptian lore or whatever.
gotcha. Could be it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like that could be some sort of bombshell later on.
Yeah.
Or not a bombshell, but maybe a nice little reveal.
Yeah. I think we're going to have some flashbacks for Mark. I think that's probably going to how they're going to tell a lot of his background now that Mark is in control of the body at this point. I think we're getting some flashbacks. Just looking at the cast, the person who's playing Wendy Spector, so his mother, uh, Fernanda,
Yeah,
Andrada. I don't know. She looks pretty young. I think they're going to flash back to some kid moments. Going to get some real deep therapy type shit that we're going to dig into from his childhood that maybe has shaped the way he is.
I can see that, and I can see that being the next episode where Mark basically sits down in front of the mirror and tells Steven, like, gets him up to speed, like, hey, this is what I've been doing. And maybe while his wife is there so that she could kind of fill in the blanks of when he's Steven Grant. Now that Steven is the inside person and doesn't have control of the body, I can see him telling his story up until that point and how he got there, using that as the vehicle.
And the last thing I have, and I'll let you go with whatever you have left in the tank. And this may be another thing that's explained in the comic books. I don't know, but I'm just assuming at this point, and this hopefully gets explained, like why Steven even exists, which may come into play with some flashbacks and stuff. But at this point, I'm just assuming Mark has been through some shit in the past through his mercenary work or whatever. He's obviously done some dirty shit, it looks like. But Steven just seems like a coping mechanism. So he's completely shut down his body. He himself has created a whole new personality. It's not really the effect of anything else. It's him trying to cope with stuff he's done in his past and distance himself as much.
Kind of protecting himself.
Yeah, protecting himself from those memories by shutting them out. So
I can see that. I can get behind that.
That's my theory as far as that. Steven is a coping mechanism for Mark, so he can actually continue living his life.
Fuck, I just had a question. I agree with that. I think that would be awesome. I think that is a very realistic. That's probably one of the most realistic possibilities that we've ever said on this show.
I'm bad at like far-fetched shit, so I keep it pretty close to the chest most of the
time. So I've got a question for you. I remember what it is now. So we know that Mark has made some kind of deal with Hanshu, right?
Yeah.
What was that deal? Like, was it just like, hey, you let me not die and I'll do this stuff for you until you're ready to move on? Or is it something more sinister than that? Is it possibly keeping his wife alive? Like something happened to her and she was on the brink of death as well. And he said, I will do your bidding if you save her. And maybe that's why Hanshu wants her body so bad. I don't know.
I think at this point, if I had to guess, and that's a really valid question at this point because we're not too sure, but I'm assuming Mark was close to death. Hanshu came and saved him while he was in Egypt. But the deal was that they needed to find the scarab if they didn't already have it. Use that scarab to find Amit, and then do whatever they wanted to with Amit. Kill him.
That's the other question. So, does Mark and Layla, do they want to kill Amit and stop her from coming, or I guess I'm confused on who wants what. Obviously, Hera wants to resurrect her, right?
Me too. Yeah.
But what?
Like I said, keeping up with all of this shit and trying to piece it all together in this one episode was cumbersome, to say the least. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly like what they want with Amit as far as Honshu. But I feel like that's their end goal because they really want the scarab, and Honshu's pretty pissed that Mark/Steven lost it.
Yeah. This is gonna get us off topic a little bit, but I fear this is where Marvel is gonna start to struggle a little bit with these 6-episode miniseries is that they're trying to pack all this stuff into 6 episodes. So they leave a lot on the cutting room floor, or they kind of rush things, as opposed to making it, say, 8 episodes where they can stretch it out a little bit more to explain this stuff in a way that dumb, stupid people like me can understand it a little bit better without having to like pause it, do some research, watch it again, ask some friends.
Yeah, and like I said in the first review, this is Marvel's biggest swing for the fences for their Disney Plus series that they've done so far.
Yeah, I mean this is the first standalone. Like, we've never met anybody that's in this show before.
First standalone, and I mean it's just a super complex character.
Yeah.
And they're trying to squeeze. I mean, I don't know if
this tells me that they've already got a second season in their head.
I would think so. And then now at this point, I'm like, they're trying to squeeze it into a 6 episode series. Could they have done a better job with a movie? I don't know. That may have been even tougher.
I don't think so. I don't think they could have made a movie.
I don't know if they could have figured out the pacing to make it make more sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a tough series to pull off. Like I said, still have full faith that I'll be in a better spot at the end of this series. But after episode 2, I'm confused. But like I said, like the visuals, like the acting, it's keeping me going.
All right, I got one more question for you.
Let's hear it.
So we learned in episode 1 that there are 9 Egyptian gods, I believe, that all do different things.
9 or 7?
9, 7, something like that. Either way, there is more than just Amit and Honshu.
Yeah.
Right? Is it possible that somehow Layla, is it Layla?
Layla, yeah.
Layla, could she become an avatar for one of those other either 5 or 7 gods?
Yeah, I could see that happening. That'd be kind of fun if they did that, and then they both joined in for the search for Amit at some point, and then they both had their special powers to help fight and find Amit. I could definitely see that happening.
This is just a note that I just thought of, and I think it's kind of significant. I think we're going to be in Egypt the rest of the way. We ended this episode in Egypt. I think that is where we are going to stay for the rest of the series.
Yeah, I could see that with a small caveat, like the very end, like the last 5-10 minutes of wrap up and resolution, we go back to London. And potentially, man, this is tough fitting Layla in there. But then trying to maybe get Steven back into his life, his normal life. And then very last second in London, something happens that kind of leaves a cliffhanger for the second season.
Either that or he somehow ties into a movie somehow. Maybe Wakanda Forever. I don't know.
Could be. I don't know. There's probably rumors flying out there somewhere.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, hey, we can make some shit up too.
We just did.
It's called the Bro4 Squad. You guys can find us on Twitter at Bro4 Squad. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Just Google us, Bro4 Squad. That's 3 words, and you'll find us. We're pretty much everywhere you can get anything ever.
Walmart?
Except for Walmart.
Damn it.
That's the one place that Cycly has not been able to secure a contract with.
We'll figure it out.
Till next time, for the American Hero, I'm the Mad Scientist. We will see you next week for Moon Knight, Season 1, Episode 3.
Did you
that was a weird little
season
inflection
in there?
Well, yeah, I don't know.
Season 1. Episode 3.
Episode 3. 3.
Mm.
Show.